What's up, people? Samuel Benter here, producer, writer, actor, director, and musician. So this video was recommended by a few young people, and I think it's very important that a video like this is done to give you insight of what it takes to actually get into the industry in media, be it TV, film, acting, music, whatever. It's pretty much all the same thing, really. It's just a different outlet. Brutal truths, things I've learned, also highlighting why it is your responsibility to actually be a success. I think we tend to, well, from my experience, we have, and from what I've observed, we've always wanted to always get that helping hand. But what if the helping hand is not there? So I'm going to go through a list of things that I actually wrote down, which I think are important. So stay tuned, grab your pen, paper, your phone for notes, because it's going to be interesting. So number one, it has nothing to do with your qualifications. Seriously. I understand we can go to study these things, be it in film school or drama school or studying media. And that's not to take away from those establishments where, you know, you learn that stuff. It's definitely important to have some sort of context, but ultimately it is not about the qualifications when it comes to this kind of industry. When walking in a casting room, I have never been asked for my acting qualifications. When directing for TV, I've never been asked for my filmmaking certificate, right? It has always come down to what have you done? What work have you done? So anyone that is in college or in film school or drama school, I want you to treat it very seriously, treat it very important, right? Because it's definitely great for the training and the groundwork. I'm not knocking away from these institutions. It's definitely great for those purposes, but it's not the be all and end all. What I'm saying is it all comes down to the amount of work you have done, you know, what you have decided to do, rather than just getting a qualification, hoping you're going to get a job. I'll be completely honest with you. It's not a thing where you get a qualification in media, or you've just done film school or whatever, or you've just done your acting degree, hoping that's going to get you a job. Casting directors don't care about your qualifications. Production companies or producers don't care about your directing certificate. None of that. Like, this really is about your work, your own work, your portfolio, you know, stuff you've done by yourself, right? For example, I would never have got a directing agent if I never did my own work with All About the Mackenzies, which is my family comedy on YouTube, right? All of that, I never studied for. I never went film school or anything like that. That was literally me saying, I want to make my own show, and I pretty much just learned from doing the work. And over time, it got better. So the important thing to remember here is it's not about the qualifications. No one cares about those in the industry, okay? It's about your level of work, how brilliant you are at what you do. Because let's face it, the creative industry, it's all competitive. Everyone's a rapper these days. I mean, times have changed. Back when I was 15 years old, right? And we're talking back in, I think, 2001, right? Times have changed now. Now everyone wants to be a rapper. Now everyone wants to be an actor. You know, now everyone wants to shoot a film. It never used to be like that. But ever since the rise of streaming sites like Netflix, Amazon, all these different sites, and you got Spotify, there's more open mic events now than there have ever been in the history of time. Everyone is on this thing now, you get me, right? Times are different. Like back then, I was sending CDs to record companies, right? Now you don't need to do that. Like people get famous off of social media and stuff like that. Like times have changed. Like YouTube, you can film something and put it on YouTube and you can get recognized from doing things like that. Times have changed now. So it's a double-edged sword because it just means there's more competition, but there's also more accessibility as well. There's more chance to be seen, more chance to be known. So I don't want to go off course here, but no one cares about your qualifications when it comes to the media industry. They just want to see your work. They want to see your portfolio. Yes, to a degree, it is about who you know as well, okay? But from doing your own content and having your portfolio and putting it out there, you get to know people. People will gravitate towards you. Always remember that. Number 2, this ain't a 9 to 5. What do I mean? So I'm sure we all know about 9 to 5 jobs. You'll clock in at 9, you clock out at 5. Working in TV and film, right? It's not 9 to 5. But then again, it depends on what role that you are doing. For example, if you're an actor, this definitely ain't 9 to 5. Like, I remember back in 2006, and I got my very first acting job, and it was in The Bill, right? Which was a police drama way back. And I remember I was 19 at the time. And I remember my agent I had back then, and I was so excited. I was like, oh yeah, this is now my job. Because prior to that, I was doing little part-time jobs. Like, do you know what I mean? Like nothing serious, nothing career related. It was just needed some money as a teenager, you get me? But I remember it was like when I was told I got the part in The Bill, I thought it was going to be a 9 to 5 gig. Like I thought I was sorted, right? No, I was corrected by my agent in terms of, no, you are a freelance actor, right? And this also works for directing, but I'll come to that. No, you're a freelance actor. You're an actor for hire. It's not a situation where you're going to be in The Bill for the rest of your life. Obviously, being 19, first acting job, very naive, didn't really know. And I was like, oh, okay. So you're contracted to do work for a specific time, right? I think I was only in one episode of The Bill, and I think it was maybe, 2 or 3 days filming different scenes. And that was the end of that job. Done. Now that you finished that job, you're not working. You're now waiting for your next acting job. And here's the mad thing. You don't know when that's going to be. It's the same with when it comes to directing. If you're a director for hire, right? And let's say, okay, if it's not my show, I directed on BBC's Class Dismissed, right? So I've now directed a show. I finished it. Contract is finished. Now I'm unemployed. And it's like, well, when's my next one? See, it's not a 9 to 5, right? It's not, right, I'm now directing on this show. This is going to be my life, right? No. It's not like that at all. So you are basically a freelancer. Like, this might be 9 to 5 for people that are in certain roles where, I don't know, let's say you're the production accountant, or you're the receptionist or something, right? Yeah, it'll probably be 9 to 5 then, right? Because you're not the creative. You're more doing the background work, so to say. But it's not a 9 to 5. So whenever you're looking to be a director or be an actor, you have to understand that this ain't a 9 to 5 job. Like, there's been times where I've finished an acting job. I'm hoping for my next one. I'm waiting on my agent to call, or I'm waiting on my agent to call for the next directing gig. But in between, I'm looking for different work to do in between, because, we all have to pay our bills and stuff like that. You understand, right? So I'm not saying like it's been sweet and rosy for all of the time that I have necessarily done this. There's definitely been times I've been broke. Like, don't get it twisted, guys. Like, man's not on Ryan Coogler money. You understand? This ain't John Boyega money unless you're them kind of, that kind of status. Like, it's a different situation, right? So I think when getting into this industry, I think it's important to make sure you're doing something else alongside your creative field, okay? Like, if you can find employment in something that gives you the flexibility to be able to leave for a period of time and go direct on a show or go act on a show. In fact, from what I remember, and you can take note of this as well, there's actually a call center for actors called RSVP, and it's based in Cross Harbour, which is on the DLR. That is a job you can do where they allow you to go for auditions and acting work. You can come and go as you please. Fair enough. But that's an employed job. But there are many other different avenues out there. I know people who have different side hustles. I know people that do trading, for instance. Like, there's different things. But anyway, the moral of the story is this ain't a 9 to 5. So don't think that, oh, because I've got my qualification, I'm going to get a 9 to 5 and direct this thing or star in this thing or edit this show and this, that, and the other. It's all freelance work. And I think it's very important that that is taught to you in these establishments. My experience of teaching in a college, I've not actually heard anyone say that, but I think it's important that that gets told, that this is not a 9 to 5. Number 3, be better. This is probably one of the most important points that I'm going to make. What do I mean by be better? The creative industry or the media industry, it is competitive, right? Like I said to you, now it is more saturated than it has ever been before, because everyone wants to rap, everyone wants to act, everyone wants to direct, everyone wants to write. What is going to separate you from the other person that's doing it? Now, I've had conversations with people where they have felt threatened with this industry because they're young, they've just come out of college, and it's like they're comparing themselves to Spielberg, they're comparing themselves to Idris Elba, they're comparing themselves to these high A-list people who the world knows about. I'm saying, don't compare yourself to these people. These people are doing this stuff for years, right? You're brand new. But okay, don't disempower yourself. You have to empower yourself, because this is really about a mindset shift. It is about, how can I be better, right? I remember saying to some students, I remember saying to them, it's all good you doing this course, and we might be doing a video journalism unit or a podcasting unit, short film, music video, etc., etc. But I want you young people to understand something, right? You only have a certain amount of hours when you're doing your course in college, right? You have a certain amount of hours, and then you leave college, you go home, and then you go back to college the next day. My question to you now is, once you left college to go home, what did you do at home to be better in what you want to do? What did you do? Most of you probably would have went home, chilled, played some PS5 or Xbox, watched TV, hung out with your friends. Fine, right? So that's up to you. And you have to remember something is, we all have 24 hours in a day, right? There's no difference between the beggar and the billionaire, right? So when I say be better, it's, what are you doing with the hours outside of college to be better in what you're doing? For example, if you own a camera at home and you're in college, use it. Is it photography that you're doing? Go out, take some pictures, utilize Instagram and put some pictures up, right? Like, do something with it. Does the camera allow you to film video? I mean, you're being taught about camera angles, right? In college. Okay, put that knowledge to use and go make a short film. Go shoot some scenes, okay? You have the camera. You've got YouTube. You could be doing this stuff right now in college whilst you're there. And you could be uploading stuff onto YouTube, right? Now, back in the day, I never did any of this, because like I said, I come from different times. My college days was 2003 to 2005, and I never even did anything acting. I never did anything filmmaking, because I did a BTEC National Diploma in Music Technology, right? But that's only because I wanted to just do something I enjoyed at the time, and I didn't know I wanted to do acting and directing. But that's for another video. But be better, like, always be better. Like, if you're doing a course right now and you're using Premiere Pro for editing, for example, right? Do you know the amount of videos on YouTube that show you tutorials on how to use Premiere Pro and showing you functions that you may never have even heard of at college, because you don't have the time to learn everything in an hour lesson? So this is about independent study. This is about how you be better. This is how you get better. This is how you can separate yourself from someone who just goes to college and does a course, to someone who goes to goes to college, does a course, and is utilizing their free time to get better and do something, and actually getting the job in, I don't know, BBC or ITV or whatever. Why? Because you chose to take it to the next level. And by doing all of this, you're utilizing your time to develop some kind of portfolio to show people what you can do. Like I said, I utilized YouTube with my family show All About the Mackenzies, and I was building a portfolio to be able to show people what I could do. Because here's the thing you're going to eventually learn, hopefully. Someone is always watching what you are doing. And this is why it's also important to watch what you put out there as well, right? Watch what you're putting out on your social media posts. Watch what you're uploading onto these social media sites, okay? Because if you're going to be putting stuff, uploading stupid things, oh, how you were drunk and night out with the lads, night out with the girls, that's not going to look good for potential employers, right? I remember when getting a job, working in a college, they were checking my social media. They were checking my LinkedIn profile. I didn't know that was going to happen, but there is someone always watching. Always remember that. So the moral of the story is be better. Utilize your time to be better in what it is that you say you want to do. Always remember that, because there is always going to be someone out there that's being better than you, because they understand this is a competitive, creative industry. So be better. Number 4, develop confidence and network. I'm sure you've all heard the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. To a degree, that is true. And I'll say it's true because the only person you need to know is yourself, right? And what I mean by that is when you know yourself and you're confident within yourself, you can easily speak to people. Times have changed where, people like to hide behind phone screens. They like to hide behind screens. Gone were the days where a young person would have a physical copy of their CV printed out, and we would approach shops to go in and ask if they had vacancies and give them our CVs. Do you know how anxious I was as a young person, right? Having to speak to absolute strangers in shops, asking if they had vacancies, because back then we didn't have apply online by a button, right? You lot now are living your life. It is easy for you lot to just press a button, submit an application, done. But back then, our generation, we had to develop the confidence to actually go into shops and say, hi, excuse me, do you have any vacancies? Do you know, trust me, we were standing out that shop for 5 minutes thinking about how we were actually gonna go in there and ask, you get me? But times have changed now, you can just apply online. Why am I saying all of this? I'm saying all of this because what I have noticed with a lot of the young people these days is they lack the social skills to just confidently network and talk to people. I'm not bashing young people because to a degree, there's a lot of people in my generation and older as well that don't even know how to approach and talk to people in regards to networking, right? So let's say you go to a networking event. I get it. You don't know anyone, right? But the whole point is to get to meet people, because someone in that room could be the next piece of the puzzle to the thing that you want to do. It could be that producer. It could be that director. It could be the actor. It could be, I don't know, the investor. It could just be someone you meet who knows someone that you don't even know that you needed to speak to, but because you spoke to that person, they can put you in touch with their network, okay? There's a saying, your net worth is your network, right? So we're not even talking money here. We are talking about personal skills to network. So, for example, students may want to get at me because I'm asking them to do a PowerPoint presentation with a group in front of the class. Or I'm saying, I need you to speak to the class and show them your presentation. And Most times there's a lot of anxiety because you've never been put in the position before where it's like, I need to speak in front of everyone, by myself, in front of all these people. This is your training ground. This is your learning ground. This is where you build your foundation, right? So you can develop the skills to be confident, to go out there to these networking events and introduce yourself. Now, you may be asking, well, where do I find these networking events? Go on to Eventbrite on Google, right? Type in film events, TV career events, radio events, or podcasting events, or meetups, stuff like this, right? You find where they are, go to them and speak to people, right? Because understand this, you are not the only one that is anxious about these events when you attend. You're not the only one. A lot of people feel the same way. And someone has to break the ice, okay? People look at me and say, oh, do you know what? He's so confident. He could just walk in a room and talk to anyone. And by the end of the night, he would have spoken to everyone. It never started like this, guys. It never started like that. Did I have the confidence from birth? Gosh, no. Confidence is a skill that is developed over time, right? It's trial and error. And you have to be okay to accept rejection if it doesn't work in your favor. And I get it. A lot of people cannot handle rejection. They take it as a negative. They may think, oh, I'm rubbish. It's about me. No one wants to know me. No one doesn't like me. No, that's not the case at all. It just means it's trial and error because you have to go over those hurdles. And trust me, I've had many rejections. Do not get it twisted, right? I have had to learn how to deal with handling rejection from meetings and stuff like that. Because, you know, this ain't about networking where you need to develop confidence. This is about meetings you're going to go into. This is about job interviews you may be going into. They need to see that you're confident because how are you going to do the job if you're not confident, right? You need to be able to talk to people, build those skills, develop those skills, be confident, go to networking events, go out there and meet people. Don't be afraid to open your mouth, right? Trust me, there's always going to be other people out there that are anxious too. But what separates you, this links into what I said about be better. It's about developing that confidence. Be better with that as well. Because confidence and charisma is going to get you far, okay? People like confident people. They want to be around confident people because they know themselves. They're not afraid to speak. They're not afraid to go out and talk to people. So, develop confidence, network. Trust me, you got this. Number 5, utilize your tools. What do I mean by this? So, let's say you have a piece of equipment. Let's say it's camera, lights, microphones. Like right now, I am utilizing my tools. I am speaking in my camera. I have my microphone. I have my 2 lights shining on me, and I'm utilizing my tools, and I will upload the video to YouTube for you lot to see, right? I'm utilizing my tools. Your tools could also be your editing software, right? Your tools is also your social media, right? So I've got my Instagram. In fact, I've got 2 Instagrams. So I've got my normal Instagram and I've got my other Instagram, which is mainly just like some acting monologues and stuff like that. But I am utilizing my tools to put myself out there, right? And I know a lot of people might want to be a perfectionist, or they might be a bit, what's the word? Insecure. Insecure, where it's like, oh, I don't like the way I look in this. Then do another take. Like these videos right now, I just press record. I'm just recording and I'm just talking. Right, this ain't scripted. Do you know what I mean? But utilizing these tools, you're able to put yourself out there. Like, I think having your own equipment is definitely like a game changer. And I'm not saying you need to pay hundreds of quid for these things, that you can use your own phone and record. I'm using a Canon R50 camera right now to record. Okay. I've got a microphone here. I think it cost me about 150, and I got two lights, which is pretty much like 60 quid, right? And you know, you use it. Just keep utilizing those tools, and this will also help you be better because you can practice what you're doing, right? I'm going to be doing a podcast where it's this camera that is going to be used. It's these lights that's going to be used, and it's going to be filmed in this building, okay? So remember, utilize your social media, utilize any equipment you've got. That includes your film. Your tools is also your skills, like whether it's directing, it could be you want to be a presenter. So, you know, you could practice presenting. Like, I don't know, create an Instagram and maybe film a day in the life of, I don't know, being, I don't know, Jennifer Jackson, for example, and go out there, you know, just, you know, interview people on the road. You know, what's it like to live in London? It's an example, but you're utilizing your skills as a presenter. Okay. If you're an actor, you could utilize your skills as an actor and put out some monologues and create an Instagram and put out some monologues. So there's no excuse. You can do these things right here, right now. Okay. So very important tool, guys. Very important thing is utilize your tools. Go out there, develop the confidence, and utilize your tools. Number 6, positive self-talk. We are our own worst critics. We are the judge. We are the prosecutor. We are the defendant. We are the jury. We are the only ones in control of our mindset, what we believe, and what we think, not just about everything, but ourselves, our own capabilities of what we can and cannot do, okay? He who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right, okay? And I don't want to get too deep into this, but I want you all to analyze yourselves in terms of what you think and what you say, your normal language. How many times have you said, I can't do that. I'm not bothered. I can't remember. I'm pretty rubbish at this. F my life. There might be more negative statements. Feel free to type them below of what you say to yourself. But this is not positive self-talk. This is actually negative self-talk. You're saying things that are disempowering you. You are saying things that are going to put you into a self-fulfilling prophecy of doom where you are paralyzed and inactive and you won't do anything and you'll make all the excuses in the world, okay? The only thing that's going to change negative self-talk is by practicing positive self-talk. Well, Sam, how do you do that? You know, I'm an avid reader of personal development books, positive books that teach me about myself. Now, don't switch off that video. Oh, he said reading. I'm not reading. Cancel the video. I'm not interested. No, trust me. You want to read books. You can also listen to audiobooks as now. Like now you can listen to audiobooks. Never used to be like that, guys. Trust me, you lot are living a life. You get me? Yeah? But reading positive books, like I can list off a reel of books right now. I could say, all right, there's there's The Secret, there's many of Neville Goddard books. There's things like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Guys, to be honest, there's too many books to mention. Just type in personal development books in Google. You'll get a whole list, okay? But you can also get audiobooks as well. So what I tend to do is I tend to always like write out positive statements like, I am happy, I can do it, I can do anything, I am great, I am powerful, I'm a great actor, I'm the best director. Now you might be thinking, oh, but that you're being big-headed. Just say the damn thing, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean? Just say it, because it's only going to work in your favor talking positive about yourself. You don't want to be like, I can't do this, I can't do that, because you'll never get any damn thing done. Like, say some positive stuff. Like, I can do this. Yeah, I can write, because it will motivate you to write. It will motivate you to be better. We always keep going back to that be better one, right? I told you, it's one of the important points. So, positive self-talk. So what I do is I kind of record some statements of positive statements that I say, and I write them in the present tense. I am, and put whatever you want there. And what I do is let's say I'm on the tube, right? I put some kind of instrumental music on, right? Some like high frequency music on, and I'm repeating it to myself in my head, not verbally, but in my head, I'm thinking, I am great, I am successful, I can do this, I am powerful, I am rich, I am happy, I am highly favored, people love me, people love my work, people can't get enough of my work, everyone wants to work with me, everything is working out in my favor, everything is moving smoothly. This is easy. This is easy. Do you know what? That's a big one. How many times have you been told, you can't do that, it's hard. It's a tough industry. It's hard to get into. We hear it all the time. And guys, what you get out of life is what you believe. Now, I'm not saying it has been easy for me. Like I'm brainwashing myself every day that it's easy. I can do this. It's easy. I can do this. Everything's working out for me. And I will record those statements and I'll listen to it during the day. Because I think there's a statistic that says we have about 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. Did you guys know this? Right? But how many of those are positive? How many of those are empowering? Right? So we want to make sure that most of those thoughts are working in our favor, okay? So, of course, it would make sense to think positively, not negatively, because we don't want to get in the habit of thinking negatively, because like I said, that's going to stop us from taking any kind of action, doing what we want to do. Because there's a process of manifestation, guys. It starts off with a thought, then there's a feeling, then there's the action, and then there's the result, okay? But I'll go more in depth about that in another video. In fact, there might actually be a video on my YouTube. Just have a look at my archive from years ago. You'll probably see it. But positive self-talk. We must start speaking positive about ourselves. And you can do this from school. You can do this from college. Whatever the age is watching this, okay? We have to start speaking positive about ourselves. Because you want to know something? The whole world is chatting negative. I've never, the news, negative. everything out there negative. You probably got negative friends. You probably got negative family members. But don't let that get into your mind. You want to be the gardener of your own mind and uproot all the negative weeds of about yourself, because you have to understand, not everyone that's a friend is a friend, right? Some people low-key want you to fail. And only you are the one that's going to be in control of your destiny with what you think about yourself, okay? You got to remember this. Think positively as much as possible. I am not saying that you are not going to have bad experiences in life. I'm not saying, everything's going to be positive for you. But it's how we think about those things that happen to us that's going to determine a lot. It is our mental attitude. Trust me, I've learned a lot about this. I used to react negatively when I got rejected from meetings, or when I never got a series of my show on ITV. And I used to hate myself for it. I used to hate the industry. But I had to do a lot of self-reflection on myself of what I learned. So whenever you're in college and your tutor says to you, okay, you're going to do a self-reflective log, this is what they're talking about. What have you learned? What went wrong? How do you feel about that? Really be honest with yourself at those times, because we only learn to be better by being honest with ourselves from what has happened. Just because someone rejected you does not mean it is you that's a bad person or you're shit at what you do, right? But it's about being better. It's about telling yourself, you know what? I am getting better. I'm going to get better. I am developing myself daily to be the best I can be. Just by saying these kinds of things is going to help you in the long run, guys. So always use positive self-talk. Number 7, read books. Dun, dun, dun. Oh no, not read books. Oh no, man, I don't want to read books. Oh no, man, this feels like another lesson. I said this before. Reading books is fundamental, but it's important, guys. Honestly, you're sitting there right now watching this video. What you know right now is what you know. And you don't know what you don't know. Is that a riddle? No, it makes sense. You only know what you know. How do I know more? I find that information. I'm going to read more about myself to learn more about myself. This is only going to help with your mental health in terms of how you see yourself. It's going to help with your confidence because you're learning more about yourself. You're learning more about your own nature. You're learning more about your thoughts. You're learning more about how you create your reality. I have read so many books. Trust me, that right now you can see my books across your screen. And now we're back. I'm not joking when I say read books, because it is a game changer. It's a game changer, and it's only going to help you out in the long run because it's got, there's education in there. You learn from other people. You learn from other successful people who have been through the pitfalls that you are yet to go into, or it could prevent you from going into just by reading about it. Okay? Like, you're not, it's not a bad thing to be a nerd. You can be a nerd and be sexy with it. You can be a nerd and be a bad man with it. Do you understand? It's what you do with that information. You don't need to tell people you read, okay? You don't need to tell them you read. Just, read the book on the, when you go home. And then you can go back out there on the street and act like a bad man or a bad gal, right? But no one needs to know. No one needs to know that information. Do you know what I mean? But read the books. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, type into Google personal development books, okay? And you'll find a whole bunch of books, okay? So reading books has definitely helped me. And it expands your mindset. Like you start to think of different ways of thinking rather than what you have been taught, okay? You have been taught to think a certain way, which may not actually work in your favor. You decide how you want to think. You believe what you want to believe. And I think with me, it all started when I just started reading a lot more books. I became a lot more confident. And I'm not talking novels of J.K. Rowling. I mean personal development books, guys. Okay? Not romance novels, ladies. Not 50 Shades of Grey. Stay away from that shit. Okay? I'm talking about personal development books. Okay? So, trust me when I say read books. So, whatever you're reading right now, because you may already be reading, and good on you. So, help others out by typing below what you are currently reading and how that may how that may have necessarily helped you in your life. Okay? But trust me, read books. All the successful people have. So why aren't you doing it? Number 8. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to fail. It's okay to make the wrong decisions. We have the tendency to judge ourselves. We have the tendency to compare ourselves to other people who are doing way better at what it is that we want to do. There's a saying, comparison is the thief of joy. And trust me, I've been victim to that quite a lot, okay? It takes a lot of, it takes time to develop a thick skin. Because with the industry, it is brutal. People will just won't give you the job, or they'll just literally prefer someone else over you, even though you know that you can do it. And you could probably do a better job than that person, right? But there was someone I had a conversation with, and there's this thing called imposter syndrome where people feel they're not worthy enough or they haven't done enough to be given the prize or to be given the role of a job or whatever, right? But it's okay to not get it, right? Because this all goes back to what I said before about be better, okay? You're going to make mistakes. Geez, I've made so many mistakes. If you look at All About the Mackenzie Series 1 to All About the Mackenzie Series 3, it got better. The writing got better. The acting got better. The directing got better. The camera angles got better. The creative decisions got better. The editing got better. Everything got better over time. But it had to start somewhere, right? It had to start somewhere. Like, it was bad at first. It was good bad, but it had to start somewhere. Now, everyone has got their own journey. Everyone's got their own path, okay? My path was not going film school. My path was not going drama school to get certificates, right? My path was not going to uni to get any teaching qualification. By the way, I got my own teaching qualification from doing it online and using my initiative to do that. But I never started knowing what I know, right? Every experience you have is a learning experience, okay? And you have to trust that you have to look at yourself like you're a child. Oh my gosh, did he seriously just say that? Did a child, a baby, come straight out the womb and ran the marathon? No. The child came out the womb, didn't even know how to walk, didn't even know how to crawl. There were steps that you had to take yourself because you never knew how to walk. You never knew how to crawl. But you had to learn those steps first before you could walk properly, then run. There are steps, but you had to fail all those times you fell down. It's the same thing with the industry in terms of getting better at what you do. You're going to fail at things, right? Like I was told that in a meeting I had that my production value wasn't a certain standard, right? This was ages ago, right? I never took it personally, but I understood there are people out there that have done this way longer than I have, but I never took it personally. I was like, okay, well, I need to be better. I need to be better and just continue to develop myself and develop my craft so I can be in a position where I won't be told that, okay? And I understand that a lot of people can judge themselves where they don't feel good enough because you've been told you're not good enough, or you've been told it's too hard or it's near to impossible. I'll tell you a little short story. When I was I think I was 15 years old and I was still in school. I think I was in year 10 them times. And these are the times that I was like, oh man, I want to be a rapper. And I was told by teachers, you can't do that. It's a tough industry. It's hard. You know, you need to get a real job. Have you been told this before? Maybe your parents may have told you this. But I still wanted to do it. I still did open mic nights when I was 15, 16 years old, right? I mean, ultimately, I decided to do acting and, make films and shoot for TV and stuff like that. But I still do open mic nights as a rapper, but more on a hobby basis, because I found with me, through all of my experiences, I preferred the acting and writing my own show and getting that show made. Like, you'll find yourself eventually, okay? But you might not know 100%. You might be in college right now and you still don't know what you want to do. And that's okay. It's okay to not know what you want to do right now. Because I know back then as a young person, it was pressure when I was in secondary school doing my GCSEs. And it's like, what do I want to do? And teachers are like, you should know what you want to do. I think that is absolute bollocks. You're not going to know what you want to do at that age, right? It's going to take, you may know, right? But very rare, very few people know at that age. But you will learn eventually. It will come to you and you'll find yourself. But the most important thing is that you are following something that you love doing because it makes you feel better, makes you enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like me, teaching in college, right? I enjoy doing it because I'm being able to share my experiences with you guys, the younger people, right? The reason I'm recording these videos is because I might not have as much time in college to say it to you physically. So I will put the videos on YouTube so you guys can watch it in your own time, okay? See, when we go to school or when we go to college, we're given a syllabus to go by or a curriculum to go by of what we have to teach. And it's up to the teacher to teach that syllabus and add their own flavor on top, their own experiences to teach you guys what you are currently learning, right? So it's important, even though we're learning this information, that we learn more and be better, okay? And it's like, for example, I went to college and obviously did a BTEC National Diploma in Music Technology. Did that for 2 years. Have I used my music technology certificate? No, I've not. I haven't even, I mean, I made some beats back in the day, but that was years ago. But I just did what I knew at the time, just for the sake of doing what I enjoyed. Because when I left school, I ended up going to college and I lasted 2 weeks doing a course I didn't like and I dropped out. Then I went back to school for sixth form and I lasted 2 weeks doing something I didn't want and then I dropped out again. And then I just spent the whole of that year working part-time in a grocery store, right? And then I said to myself, next year, I'm going to go college and just do something that I know I actually like. I'm not thinking about employment. I'm just going to do something that I like. You know what I mean? Yeah? I know we can get a lot of pressure, but guys, trust me when I say it's okay to make wrong decisions. I definitely have done, and you'll learn from them in time. I hope these videos have helped you. Comment below, share with your friends. Take care.